Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be talking about service, but I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle. There are quite a few videos flying around YouTube with people talking about etiquette, how to behave, what to say, what not to say as a consumer when you go into a luxury store. But I thought the relationship is two ways. Just as much as consumers, we want luxury goods, the brands cannot operate or be profitable or stay in business without consumers buying their products. So there's a certain level of service we should also receive from the brands, but it becomes incredibly more significant and important, I think, when it's brands at the top end of the market. So when I talk about the different levels of luxury, from about premium core, so premium core, super premium, ultra high end, bespoke focused brands, service is incredibly important because you're paying a whopping premium for the products, and there's a certain level of service you should get with those products. And it's something that you don't always get. And we're seeing it a lot now with all of the game playing with Hermes, with Chanel, for example. People talking about really bad service, bad behavior from some of the assistants. But people still keep buying the products because they want to be a part of whatever that brand stands for in their eyes. And then last year, I heard from one of the brands. I was going around looking at some of their products, and the sales assistant was kind enough to tell me that, oh, we use some of your videos as training aids. And I thought, interesting. And you don't actually pay for those videos, but it's part and parcel of being on YouTube. And I thought, I can't control what happens to my videos, but I can control how I react. And I thought, why don't I create content? Because I've seen really bad behavior over the years consistently. There are not enough brands giving really good service. And as consumers, we're paying a lot and deserve it. And I thought, why don't I come in with a different angle and say, I think these are some of the things I've noticed consistently over the years that brands are falling on. They're not delivering to a standard I think is appropriate, and just put it out there. If they listen, great. If not, I just think as consumers, we need to be more demanding, more discerning with what we expect from the brands. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things. Whether you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on quality under the radar brands, or you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying quality from the get-go, then my content is geared towards you. I'm going to split the various scenarios, suggestions I'm going to make into four sections. When you arrive at the luxury store, shopping within the store, fitting room scenario, and then the end when you are paying and leaving the store. My scenarios are within your luxury standalone store, when they have their own boutique or showroom, or they have a concession in a luxury department store. Other options are also your luxury supermarket, throw into that luxury services, and also the third is when people turn part of a residential property into commercial. It's something I've seen, for example, in Nairobi, Kenya, in Johannesburg, in South Africa, here in London, particularly around Chelsea, Knightsbridge, and I've also seen it in Harare in Zimbabwe. People turn part of their property into a showroom, and they have part residential, part showroom, and the etiquette for all of those is a little different. So I'm not going to include those scenarios in this video. I'm just going to be focused on your luxury standalone boutique or the luxury department stores. When it comes to service, it's absolutely important. Service at the top end is first and foremost professional. It's attentive, but it's also knowledgeable, incredibly knowledgeable. I typically expect assistants to know their product very well, to have good general overview of the industry and some of their competitors. In the United Kingdom, I find that is lacking a lot. 9 times out of 10, I'll go somewhere and ask what I think is a fairly basic question about the product. Let me give you an example. Literally yesterday, I was in Harrods, And I was walking through the ground floor beauty department, and one of the sparky young ladies proceeded to talk about her brand. She was trying to get me to buy the new technology, the new formula face cream and cleanser. And she went on to tell me that the particular product used ingredients that were rare, unique to that particular brand, and the formulation was different and game-changing. I then went on to ask, what are the products? And she didn't know the products. And I responded by saying, you would like me to spend £400 on moisturizer and cleanser, but you don't know anything about the product. And she was quite sheepish about it, but you need to have a good idea, a good understanding of the product first and foremost. But coming back to this whole store scenario, what I find a lot happens, and I think it's just a mixture of people having their own preconceived ideas, making a judgment call, maybe just tired and fed up of their job. First point of contact for most showrooms, most brands, is the security. Most have a fairly heavy door, security at the front. And they either open the door or they unlock the door. Some stores actually lock the door. And I found so many times you walk in, the security take their time to open the door. They're the first point of contact. They set the mood for your visit. Some don't even smile or even acknowledge you or even look at you. What I think is important is just to smile and say, welcome to the brand. And I find when they do that, that automatically puts me in a good mood. I will always smile back and say, thank you. Come in, sales assistant should also welcome you with a smile, greet you, welcome you, and also mention the brand name. That is really important. When you have an appointment, slightly different ball game in that it's your time. Some of the department stores, the doors are locked, they let you in, you come in, they greet you. And I think it's important to be offered a drink first and foremost, especially when you have an appointment. You typically will sit down and you'll talk through your needs, your expectations for that particular appointment. Once you are shopping, most places will ask if you're happy browsing or you're looking for something specific. If you're looking for something specific, then they carry on and continue the conversation and assist you. But if you're browsing, then I think it's important to give the consumer their space. All too often I find assistants are quite close. They look at you, they stare, they look at you up and down. And I just feel a little uncomfortable, and I think it's inappropriate. And it's almost like they're watching to see, what are you going to do? Are you going to steal? And it's behavior that I think is inappropriate. I think what's important is just to give someone their personal space and still be close enough so that if they need something, they can just turn to you without raising their voice and say what they would like. There are a number of things, I'd say about 5-6 things that really stand out, I've noticed, particularly in the luxury stores. The first is how assistants refer to you. I think it's important to err on the side of caution and be incredibly professional and refer to everyone as either Mr. or Mrs., Ms. or Miss. When you have an appointment, they typically have your first name and your surname. Use the surname. London is incredibly multicultural, and the African, Asian culture typically errs more towards being respectful and referring to someone as Mr. or Mrs. People who are a little more relaxed will turn around and respond and say, oh, call me by my name, for example, and they'll proceed to tell you that. But always be professional and refer to someone using the appropriate title. The second is listening. All too often I've been in situations where people don't listen. I will start to ask a question, 3 or 4 words into my question, they cut me off and say what they think or answer what they think I'm asking. And more times than not, it's not what I'm thinking. Just listen, let the customer say what they want to say and then respond. The other thing is also talking too much. A couple of weeks ago, I was in a luxury department store, a luxury store, multi-floored store, and I went up to ladies, which was on the 2nd or 3rd, and the assistant who met me warmly welcomed me to the brand, but immediately went on to ask a lot of very personal questions. Oh, I like your hair, which then led to, where are you from? How often do you go back home? I literally couldn't look at the clothes in the store because she was talking so much. And I was so taken aback because I've never experienced someone talking that much in a luxury store before. usually they'll greet you and say a couple of things, but she just went full on as if we were friends. We were possibly at a party and having a conversation. I was so taken aback. And I tried to be incredibly gracious. And even when I responded and kept quiet, she just kept coming back with the next question. And I just thought, oh my goodness, what's going on here? The next scenario is tidying up after customers. I was in another store recently looking at handbags. I put 2 handbags together, turned around to get a third. The assistant came and took the second and put it back where it had been before. And I went and bought it back. And then when I went to get another bag and I was trying to look at things and I was comparing, she kept tidying up after me. And I had to actually say, after a few minutes, please stop tidying up after me. I would like to look at different colors, compare different variables on the bags, and I'd appreciate it if you don't tidy up after me. It was just literally obsessive, and I don't know why she did that. And I felt somewhat embarrassed that she felt the need to behave like that. And then the other scenario is, I've come across quite a few assistants who will talk about other customers who've been there, what they've bought, the excitement when they've had, for example, Beyonce, who's recently been on her Renaissance tour in the United Kingdom. Oh, Beyonce was here and she sat there and she bought this and she bought that. And I think, oh my goodness, I just cringe, because at the end of the day, Beyonce is still human and she does deserve a certain level of privacy and respect. And there's that excitement that she was in their store and, as the assistant said, breathing the same air as us. But it's also inappropriate to talk about other customers. And then moving over to the dressing room. Now, the dressing room for me has been a bit of a deal breaker. It's actually one of the reasons why I don't enjoy shopping. I've been into dressing rooms that are not well maintained. The carpet is dirty, there's hair, there's tissue, clothes left over from the previous customer. And it's shocking. And I think this is a top tier designer brand, and this is the state of their dressing rooms. One thing that I've learned over the years is just dressing room etiquette, and I don't think it's something people typically talk about. When an assistant places you or directs you to a dressing room, I think it's important, once they've placed you in there, they've hung up the clothes or put the clothes on the bench for you to try on, to then close the door for you, as opposed to just walk out and wander off. They gently close the door or draw the curtain, and as they're doing this, they say to you, I'll be just outside if you need me. And they need to stay close by. All too often, assistants then wander off, and then I have to get dressed and look for someone to come back and assist. And when you are paying thousands of pounds for, whether it's shoes, clothes, jackets, the service needs to be attentive. Someone needs to be present. They need to be there to look after you. With the assistant outside, I often ask them to come in and help. It's important when they do come in to say, I'm coming in. For them to come in, and if they're going to do something, whether it's pulling up the zip or help tighten a belt or whatever it may be, to always say, may I do this? Or could I help you with this? Or I'm about to do this. It's not appropriate for someone to just do something without telling you on your body, for example, with something that you are wearing. Once they're done, they need to go outside. And then each time they come in, they need to announce, I'm coming in, and to say what they are doing. There can't be that comfort that they can just come in and out. I've been in situations where assistants have come in, left the curtain open, left the door open. Each time you come in and out, the curtain, the door has to be closed. Coming back outside, you finish shopping, you're now paying. I think it's important when you're paying for the assistant to actually tell you what they're going to do. Once you've paid, payment has been accepted, to then say, oh, I'm going to wrap your items in tissue and then place them in a bag. Will that be all right? Or would you prefer to take them away? Or do we send them to a home address or a hotel, for example? And shall I pop the receipt into the bag? To always communicate what they're doing and what they are thinking. One thing I've also found is in between the dressing room and also paying, if the assistant is not getting involved directly with you, you are fine in the fitting room on your own. Sometimes assistants wander off. That's something I don't think they should do. They should always stay close by. I've also found that they sometimes will go and help another assistant. I've been in a store and what is supposed to be a fairly wealthy customer has come in and they've gone off to help the other assistant because they want to be part of the commission that is typically earned from that particular customer. They are my assistant and they need to stay. If they need to go off somewhere, they need to tell you, do you mind if I just pop off and check something, and I'll be back in the next minute or two. And the other thing is telephones. All too often, I've come out, assistants are on the phone, they're doing something else, and it's not linked to you. When an assistant is looking after you, they need to be focused on you. Unless they're looking for stock or looking for information relating to your request, I think assistants should stay off the phone. As I mentioned, the payment, how to process it, and then how do we pack the receipt and so forth, always communicating and asking what you would prefer. And then once they've finished and you are leaving, I think it's important for the assistant to come around from behind the till and actually hand you the bag and say, thank you for the business. If it's a store where the door is locked, then they need to escort you to the door and open the door for you. I think it's wrong, it's inappropriate for them to say, oh, thank you, and then just leave you to wander to the door and figure out how to open that door. And that's something that I've experienced quite a few times, where I then ask, how do you open this door? And they say, oh, excuse me. And they do that. Because quite a few of these stores have locked doors. When you're in, they lock the door, or security closes the door, and they need to open that door for you. So those are just some of my thoughts from some of the experiences I've had, things that happen all too often. And if you are paying a phenomenal premium for products, service is also a very important consideration for the brand. Any questions, any thoughts, as always, let me know in the comments down below, please. And to all my viewers, thank you for watching. Do subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.